earlier, I think that Canada has a world-renowned public service, and it's integral that we don't attack them to try and score political points. Everybody in this country, and especially elected officials, have, I think, a responsibility, a duty to ensure that we protect our institutions, and that the last thing we should try and do is to somehow diminish them just in the hope that we could score points.
Recently released access to information documents reveal that those delicate members of Parliament are not quite as endangered as the Liberals say they are. Certainly not endangered enough to necessitate the censorship of every man, woman, and child in this country. Sheila Gunn Reid for Rebel News, and you know what, friends? I read a lot of government documents and emails that will absolutely chill you to the bone. Today is no different. That's why I love my cozy and warm Keep Fighting for Freedom Rebel News hoodie, available at rebelnewsstore.com. There's something there for everybody. And the hoodies, I gotta tell you, they do look great underneath your prairie tuxedo jacket, if I do say so myself. Now, for the news of the day, have you heard about the new censorship law that hasn't quite been written yet, but it is coming? Nonetheless, you can see what the coming law is meant to do by reading the Liberals' own discussion papers on their plan to censor the internet, to end free speech and criticism of the government online. And you can also see their plans to punish those who run afoul of the new government news blasphemy rules, and sign our petition to fight back, because no one else is, at stopthecensorship.ca. We have to fight back while it's still legal to. Now, one of the reasons for all this censorship, I sort of alluded to it earlier, and the censorship czar, Heritage Minister Stephen Guilbeault, he admitted to the reason. It's that life is hard out there for public servants like MPs and bureaucrats. It's rough when those serfs who pay their overinflated salaries say mean things to them on the internet. Take a listen to this.
We've seen too many examples of public officials retreating from public service due to the hateful online content targeted towards themselves or even their families. I have seen firsthand, alongside other Canadians, the damaging effects harmful content has on our families, our values, and our institutions.
And of course, perpetual victim Catherine McKenna, the failed environment minister who once said she had no time for climate deniers, and who has eventually shuffled over to fail as the infrastructure minister who lost track of billions of dollars in taxpayer-funded projects. Well, she routinely talks about how she needs an advanced security detail because of death threats to her. However, in this article about her so-called victimhood, the evidence provided by McKenna suggests that people just shouted rude things at her and the odd swear word, but not any actual death threats. It's not nice to do those things, but those aren't death threats. Now, the information I'm going to share with you to debunk those claims by Guilbeault about the dangers of being in government and why that necessitates one of the harshest censorship laws in the free world, this new news blasphemy law, isn't exclusive to Rebel News. These documents aren't just ours. At this point, these documents belong to everybody. Now, what do I mean by that? This question and the resulting answer was asked by someone or an organization, and for a time, that access to information was exclusive to the person who filed it. But eventually, these documents end up being proactively released to the public so that everybody can see them and know them and use them. That's why at Rebel News, we closely monitor these proactive releases. And here's what we found. Look at this. Organization, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, year 2021, month May, and then it gives the request number. Here's the request summary, so what the person asked for. They wanted to obtain a copy of any statistics or data in the possession of the RCMP showing the number of times that federal ministers received death threats for each of the following years from 2016 to 2020. Disposition, no records exist. Number of pages, 0. The mainstream media could have asked this question and discovered the information. However, the information doesn't fit their narrative about the poor, endangered politician in need of censorship laws and crackdowns on citizens to protect them from imminent danger. The mainstream media often abandons this sort of inconvenient information all the time. But with proactive releases, it can't stay buried forever. It's all there. All we have to do is do the work of looking. It's one of the reasons why Trudeau's new censorship plan is coming for Rebel News and other independent media. We report the things the mainstream media is paid by Trudeau through endless bailouts and subsidies to either ignore or sometimes bury. To send a message to the Trudeau government that we should not be censoring free people in a free society, that the right to free expression is a fundamental human right, and that there is no right of politicians and well-paid bureaucrats to not have their feelings hurt by the very people for whom they work, please visit stopthecensorship.ca. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Politicians and well-paid bureaucrats do not have a right to not have their feelings hurt by things people say on the internet. However, Canadian citizens absolutely do have a right to express their opinions about the government. That's why it's so important to stop the coming censorship, to sign our petition and send a message to the Trudeau Liberals that it is a fundamental human right to be able to express your opinion. Please go to stopthecensorship.ca.